It seems like it's been 40 weeks since you got 40 winks. Your back pain? Unbearable. Tossing, turning, trying to find that pain-free position. And that's the moment you realize you can't spend another waking moment putting off treatment.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for spine care, with a ton of surgical and non-surgical treatments for back pain. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better, the Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This podcast, episode 600, Shay's Weight Loss Journey Weekly Updates.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This podcast. I am Amanda Valentine, and this is Shay.
Hey.
Hey, girl, hey.
How you doing?
Oh.
Yeah, girl, you be looking good today. Woo.
Welcome to my OnlyFans. I will have to say, I recorded a podcast recently, and somebody said, they're like, whenever you talk to Shay, are you guys in person? Because it sounds like you're in person. I'm like, no, but cool. That's awesome.
I'm glad it comes across that way.
I know. No, we're just recording online like everybody else's meetings these days. Yes. I am so glad, though, that out of 2020, I don't have to sit through Zoom meetings.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds incredibly painful to do online classes through Zoom or work meetings. I mean, I guess it's better than going into a COVID soup, but
oh my God, COVID soup. Just a little COVID stew.
Yeah, a little Dinty Moore COVID stew.
Oh God.
Which, by the way, like pre-weight loss, Amanda ate a decent amount of Dinty Moore stew. Yeah.
Did you?
I did. Well, like we got like food pantry food. So we got a lot of just like whatever was donated to us because, you know, poor family. And a lot of that was like Hormel chili, Dinty Moore stew, boxes of au gratin potatoes. I mean, I motored that stuff. So yeah.
Those au gratin potatoes though, man.
Dude, those were my jam. That is something I have not
they hit
gone back
different.
to. I just the entire box of them too. Like just,
oof.
Yeah, that was a serving just for me.
Well, yeah, I have a problem with the servings. Like I'm going to be real honest. The chickpea pasta, I had a bad experience because I was like, I'm not going to have one serving of this crap. And then I was gassy for days, dude. That serving is, you got to stick to that.
Well, I've made that before. And maybe I made it wrong. I did not enjoy it. I didn't like the texture. Like it felt, and I didn't really like the taste. I don't know. It wasn't my thing. Like I just, white and wheat pasta. And my friends that made the almond pasta for a while, I liked that. But all the other freaky pastas they have at Kroger, I don't know. I just don't like them. Like the lentil pasta and the chickpea pasta. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. I don't know. They're funky to me.
They do have a different texture for sure.
Yeah, I made them once and I threw away the whole pot of them and I had to make something else because I made it to meal prep for the whole week. So I made a butt ton of it. It wasn't just like, I went all in instead of just like, I should probably make a bowl before I commit for a whole week. And that was a mistake. Not every meal prep goes correctly.
No, sometimes you got to throw it away.
Yes, ma'am.
That's real sad when that happens.
So how has the past week been for you? I mean, at the time of recording this, we're right before Thanksgiving. So this is going to come out after Thanksgiving, but we haven't gotten there yet. So kind of the past week leading up to Thanksgiving, how's it been going?
I've had a pretty good week. I didn't have I'm not doing a lot right now, so I'm not having like issues with like social things getting in the way. I'm just trying to make sure that I keep healthy food in my apartment and not stuff that's going to be tempting for me. Yeah, so it's been a pretty good week.
Do you have any issues with Thanksgiving? I mean, outside, like just specifically not family stuff, but like food wise that you're concerned about at all?
Yeah, I'm mostly like sweets are what gets to me. So, as far as the like meal tomorrow, I'm not too worried about. It's just gonna be like four of us. So we're not doing like a great big meal. And now that I don't live with my parents, it's kind of nice because I can go eat and then go home and I don't have a bunch of leftovers and stuff that I'm gonna eat on all week. So that's a relief. So anything I eat tomorrow is like, it'll be left there. Um, but I'm not going to be super strict tomorrow, but I also am not going crazy. So
Yeah.
since I'm just going to be there for one meal, it's not going to be like a whole day. And it's, it's not like I'm on a trip. So I don't have to worry about the whole week. It's literally just going to be one meal tomorrow and then I can move on. So that gives me less anxiety.
Yeah, I feel like my personal thoughts on holidays, like specifically Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is such a food holiday. And even though Christmas isn't technically a food holiday, I mean, it's a food month.
Yeah.
That, I have been on all sides of the weight loss journey spectrum at Thanksgiving of don't give an F at all and just go ham. And also being very strict at Thanksgiving. And I mean, from my experience, it's just best to make sure you're enjoying yourself of like, don't eat to the point of pain and go insane and be like, this is finally my break from a diet. Cause then you don't want to be on a diet like that and go like 4 plates in one day and just gorge yourself. But also don't like not have the things you love because like, oh, I'm not going to eat the candied yams or whatever because I'm going to gain all this weight back. It's like, enjoy yourself, try to be peaceful with it and try to have a good relationship with the food instead of like let it rule or dominate you. And that's why I feel like it can be troubling, like especially I don't see it as much this year, probably because the rest of the world is on fire, but like that, there's how many burpees you have to do to work off those mashed potatoes of like, oh my God, I don't want to think about that. Like, can't I just enjoy this for a minute? Like, I don't want to think about, how many crunches that I have to work off, if just, oh my God.
Well, I got really like bothered by something a client said regarding Thanksgiving and how like they were going to eat and then spend the rest of the day feeling guilty. Like, and they just said it was like, it was this normal thing that we all just eat a bunch of crap and then feel bad about it. And I was like, oh my God, this bothers me so much because this is the way our society is. I'm like, we should be able to eat food and not experience guilt because that's not a healthy way to live around food. So then I was like, all right, I'm going to have Thanksgiving. I'm not going to have anxiety about the food that's there. And then I'm not going to hate myself afterwards because that's not a way I want to live my life.
Yeah.
And that's not a way I want anybody to live their life. Like we shouldn't feel guilt around what we're eating. So,
or I mean, not even Thanksgiving. Again, I have been on every spectrum of Thanksgiving and these kinds of events before. And I've been in all different seasons. And I have done before too of almost like, this wasn't Thanksgiving, but this was a barbecue I was going to, that I was being in a very strict phase, a very obsessed with the scale phase. And I was so concerned about going to this barbecue that I was spending the night at. And it was like, there's going to be drinking and there's not going to be anything healthy there. And I just felt like I have to outwork what I'm going to do. So I went to back boot camp classes.
Oh my God.
Like one from like 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And I felt like such garbage after that. Like I felt sick. And I'm like, that's what I felt like I needed to do to X off just going to a freaking barbecue. And again, like, I'm glad that I've had that experience and I've lived through that to know that that's not correct way to live of like, I shouldn't have to punish myself to enjoy food of how about I just go and not worry about it and enjoy myself for one damn day. And again, make the best choice possible in every moment. If I'm at a barbecue, I want to enjoy myself. I want to enjoy the people I'm with. I don't want to obsess over my food. I don't want to like, again, it's supposed to be a pleasurable experience, not filled with guilt or punishment. And so it's so hard to find that balance especially, you know, if you have disordered eating and this terrible relationship with food, and then you're thrown into these gluttonous sort of holidays where it's just kind of like, and especially it can be so dangerous of when you have family around you, and if you're trying to just be like, you know what, I'm just going to have one plate. I'll have a little bit of everything. Yep. I'm trying to be balanced. I feel good doing this. This is what I want to do. And then your family is just like, I'm a little rabbit over here. You can't, oh, you don't like my food. And like, I'll just, whatever. Not everybody's family's that way. But it's just kind of like, then you feel guilty in another way because people are shaming you over your food choices. And then it feels like some families shame you for eating too much. And then some families shame you for eating too little. Like, oh my God, how are we supposed to deal?
That's a whole attitude that drives me crazy too, is like, it's the holidays. Do what you want. Eat what you want. Like, I feel like people say that the whole month of December. I'm like, I don't think you understand. If I ate exactly what I wanted, whatever I wanted for a whole month, homegirl's gonna gain 50 pounds. Yeah. So I'm like, it's so confusing. I don't know why people care so much what other people are doing.
Yeah, like, it's really a reflection of them. I mean, because I can remember specifically, and I used to do this a lot. Tell me if you had this experience. So especially like when I was dating, I would do this. But I just felt like a habit out of it of like, if I had stuff left on the plate, I would try to spread it out to look like I didn't eat as much because I was so self-conscious of people being like, oh, fatty Amanda just like inhaled all of that, which I'm not. That is something that I have worked through, which I'm happy that I don't deal with that anymore. But like I felt so much around that. At one time, it was a family function. I did that. I can't remember what holiday it was. And I spread out the food, and someone in my family called me out for it. And they're just kind of like, oh, I see that you're doing that, so it makes it look like you ate less than you actually did. And like that, I'm like, it just felt like a burning hot knife in my stomach.
Oh my God.
Of like, it just felt like so judged and like, so like just spotlight on like, again, like you're ultimately shaming me for eating so much. And then you pointing that out, again, that's just their crap. Like I want to make you feel bad because whatever their internal things are. And that's why it's like, again, not everybody's family is toxic, which, but it's like stuff like that of just even just thinking of, you know, that just having to like, I need to spread the food out on my plate so people don't judge me for how much I've eaten is such a shameful, awful feeling. And I just feel so awful that people feel that. And I know that I've spent so much of my life feeling that. And then to feel like you're supposed to be in a safe environment with family and friends and to be judged and knowing that other people are looking at your plate and deciding what you should eat and not eat is freaking terrible. And that's where, you know, and again, not everybody's family is toxic, but I just hate that is a thing because I know I'm not the only person that has lived through this, you know, just specifically like major holidays. And that's, oh my God, as if this time of year isn't stressful enough and under in a pandemic. I hope nobody has to deal with that crap this year because if anybody is judging you for eating too much food during a pandemic, like, oh my God.
Give me their address. I will go over there and give them a piece of my mind.
I will say this year though, I mean, I love Thanksgiving. I mean, I just love to eat, and I love mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes.
Oh, me too.
But we're not going anywhere this year. We usually go to my in-laws in Illinois, and we're not. And so I actually, specifically where I'm at, of like, it almost just feels like, okay, I'm just being home and do my own. We're not cooking Thanksgiving. We're not doing that. We're just kind of like, it's just kind of like another day. We're going to put up Christmas decorations. So I'm like, I actually am like, I'm just excited just kind of like stick to the routine I'm making right now. Like that feels good to me right now. I'm glad I don't have to be thrown in the mix of that and just where I am at mentally this year. So that actually feels like I'm excited to not have to go through the like, oh, what am I going to eat? And what's everybody going to bring? And my in-laws have never judged me for what I'm eating and not eating. So, I mean, they're not like that. They're not like my family. Where my mom gave me judgment for eating guacamole at Christmas a couple years ago.
Oh, God. How dare you eat guacamole?
It just didn't seem like something I would eat.
Yeah, Amanda, looking at you, I don't feel like you look like someone that would eat guacamole.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a choice you would make.
No.
Oh my God.
God. People say the dumbest things about food, man.
I know. That's why it's crazy to me. I know that I'm kind of just going off on a rant here, but it's like, because it's something you can't control. You can't control other people's comments or judgment on what you're putting into your own body and what you're eating. And I think the holidays highlight that. Because it's like you're taking out of your routine and putting it in front of other people. And it's just like it can be in a break room at work. If somebody's just like, oh, come on, you can't have one donut. Like, but then it's different when it's like your family and your close friends and they're kind of doing that same thing to you. And then if you stand up for yourself, hopefully they're respectful of like, yeah, I don't want to have a fourth plate this year. So it's not that I'm in a bad place. It's just that that's what I choose to do. And it's like, then you have to over explain your food choices. I don't know.
Right. Well, and I'm sure other people experience this, but I have so much anxiety already going into like a family get together or like a thing with friends where there's going to be a lot of food because I don't know the kinds of decisions I'm going to make. I don't know how in control I'm going to feel because sometimes I do. I just feel totally out of control around food. And that's like my least favorite feeling. Like it feels awful. So then you go into like a family gathering where you're already experiencing anxiety about food. And then you have to worry about what people are going to say to you on top of that is so frustrating.
Yeah. And then this has nothing to do with other people. This is where I have been in the past as well. And this has just been like picnics, barbecues, holidays, where this is a feeling. Tell me if you've experienced this, because it's very like, it's just like, I don't even know how to explain the feeling of going and being so obsessed with the food, but not wanting to eat so much of it in front of people, of like waiting till everybody's in the bathroom or everybody's like left the kitchen and everything's sitting there, and then just going in and inhaling as much as possible, like secretly, and like just only thinking about it. Like you're not even focused on the conversation that's happening around the chips and queso or whatever. And so like all you're thinking of is like, I can't wait till I'm alone with this. And like just that feeling is, I don't know, like it's just, it's hard to describe. Have you felt that before?
Yeah. And a lot of people I feel like that haven't struggled with that would be like, well, that's a little crazy. But I like literally, I mean, even at holidays like Thanksgiving, I have like, while I'm making my plate, if no one's in the kitchen, I will like eat food off my plate. So it looks like there's less food on my plate. Like when I go to sit down, I like when we have like potlucks or something at work, if I want to like eat some cookies or something, as soon as I'm back there by myself, I'll eat like 4 cookies because I know no one's like going to see it.
Yeah.
So it's like the secret eating type thing where I'm like, wow, I don't want people to think I'm a pig. So I'm just going to like do this when nobody's watching. And I did that like when I got older and was still living at home. Like sometimes I would come home late at night and people would already be asleep. And then I would eat a bunch of food in the kitchen because I'm like, everyone's asleep. No one's judging me right now. And that was a little dangerous when I moved out on my own because I was like, oh, I'm going to have more control living on my own. But now I'm like, I can eat my entire refrigerator and nobody knows.
Yeah, right. And that feels like, because again, I'm like, I just don't have the best solutions for that because I feel like I've spent so much of my life in that, and it just takes so much to work. Like that is disordered eating. And I mean, I didn't go through therapy to fix that. I mean, even though I'm in therapy now, and I should have gotten therapy a lot sooner, but it's, again, it's just like valuing yourself and respecting yourself and loving yourself, because that doesn't feel like love. And it's just, you know, kind of going through this journey again of like, just not like weight loss, you know, both of us being on a weight loss journey. It's not just that, it's working through, and we have so many of these similar issues of working through those things. And the bigger win is I'm not obsessively thinking about, I can't wait till people leave the room so I can eat. Like the fact that that doesn't cross my mind anymore, that is an insane win to me, because that's how I lived so much of my life. And I'm like, I don't, even at that moment, I wasn't thinking, oh, I don't want to live this way. All I thought was, get the hell out of here. I want to eat all this. And then also making it look like I didn't eat as much. And like, I'm like, that is just not a way to live. And it's so, I just hate that so many people live that and don't know how to get out of it. And not only that too, of things I would do too, of like, and I know that I've talked a lot about secret eating and ordering so much fast food and then hiding the trash and stuff. But not only that, of like, let's say that I went and got donuts, and I would order like, let's say 4 donuts. And then I would really order 6 and wolf 2 down in the car, so nobody would know I had those. And look, I just bought 4, or, of just like, then just power eat in the car. And so nobody would know that these things were missing. And I feel like that's, the holidays were a big one, because it's like leftovers and cookies and all that stuff. And it's just such a process to ease yourself out of that. And it's one of those things that's another thing I ever publicly talked about until I started this podcast. I wasn't like telling my friends and family that I had barbecues with, that like, hey, I was obsessed with you leaving so I could eat what was out here. It seems like you're this like alone on an island of like just jacked up food issues, and no one could possibly understand.
Yeah. See, and I am I would kind of talk about stuff about making fun of myself. Like I would like tell a story like, oh, I'm such a fatty, like I did this. And because it was a way to make people laugh, but also be like, hey, I know I'm a fatty. So I've had to really watch myself with like not making fun of myself and the things that I do anymore, because that was also not a loving thing to do. So I will say I never did that. I never made any comments. I'm real bad at that.
I mean, I get it though, because I mean, I've also used humor to hide behind. So like that's, I'd deflect any sort of judgment on my body or my food by making jokes. I just didn't make jokes about my own body. But I totally 1000% understand, if like you make the joke first, you beat them to the punch before they can hurt you. And so that's, I mean, God, like all these conversations gets like so deep into the psyche of all this stuff. But yeah, it's just like, it's important. And it's like, these are the things that when you think of, going on a weight loss journey, or, again, how many burpees I needed to do to burn off mashed potatoes and gravy. This isn't addressing the issue. It's not that I need to exercise to work off what I'm eating, especially if you have that kind of issue with food, which I know not everybody has. I know everybody listening to this podcast doesn't have the same thing, or same relationship with food. But, for me or for us, like that's the deep-seated thing, like of like, how do you work through that? And it's like, you have to almost acknowledge that's happening before you can really start taking care of yourself. It
is one of the things that I think is amazing, that I've experienced since I've started experiencing that less, is how much like additional headspace I feel like I have, because I felt like before my entire life was controlled by thoughts of food, and almost like the way all day that was like what I was thinking about and what was controlling me. And then now that, I experience a lot less of that, it's like, whoa, I have so much headspace to think about other things and to like deal with other things. And I'm like way more aware of my like emotions and things that I'm feeling and experiencing, because I'm not filling up all that headspace with food.
Yeah. And I just feel like I have a better relationship with holidays, even though I'm glad this year to kind of be on my own. But I have such a better relationship with, again, if somebody's going to comment on my food, at this point where I'm at, I'll be like, yeah, so what? You know what I mean? Where I feel like if you would have taken me at the beginning of my journey, like, oh, you're probably right. And I'd feel bad and I'd feel guilty and I'd want, don't be mad at me. Please like me. And so not stand up for myself. So it just feels like that through the whole journey, it's made things like this easier. And I have a better relationship, especially like think of like Christmas cookies at work, which I've dealt with every year up until now, of also recognizing what is worth the spiral or not, of like looking at this tray of cookies, like, is that something I really want to eat? Is that really worth it? I'm like, no, it's not. And being okay with that. It's not like I feel deprived or I'm torturing myself. It's like those cookies aren't worth it. But some baklava shows up, that's going in the face hole because that stuff is delicious and I will eat that. So it's not like this, it's just weighing out the things. And I feel like that's the same thing with Thanksgiving. Like, yeah, if you want to go ham and go nuts, the repercussions are you're going to feel this way. If you're cool with that, then do what you're going to do. Like, whatever. Like, but it's like, or if you're going to eat nothing, be super strict, how does that make you feel, good or bad? Of like, like being able to see it, like zoom out from the, I'm trying to think of the word of just like the scenario, I guess. And then assessing the situation and just thinking about it instead of just trigger reacting is huge. And again, that's like a no shame if you want to eat 3 pies in a row. I mean, if that's what you want to do and you feel awesome afterwards and you're just like, that's how the hell I want to live my life. And I mean, don't let anybody judge you if that feels good for you. But if you feel shame and awful and you just like can't handle yourself afterwards, then that wasn't the right choice.
Right. No, you just got to do what's your best life.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Well, mashed potatoes for sure. And then like pecan pie is probably my favorite dessert. Yeah, we always get like a honey baked ham instead of turkey. And I do really like that too. I'm honestly not a huge fan of Thanksgiving food. Like it's good, but it's not something where I'm like, wow, I'm really craving that. Like I was trying real hard to get my family to just do Chinese food. No, nobody would do it.
See, I like a lot of Thanksgiving food. I mean, it's all very brown.
But I do kind of feel like in some ways I can make it semi-healthy. Like if I eat like the protein and then just a little more, like more protein, like some vegetables, and then whatever sides just eat less of, it doesn't feel as bad as like, I don't know, when somebody orders a bunch of pizzas. Like I feel like there's ways to almost do it and not be out of control. So.
Totally. Yeah. And that's where I am now, of like, I know that again, the things that I know that are worth it and aren't. I mean, that's when especially when you're dealing with your kind of classic Thanksgiving food, like it's like, you pretty much got an idea of what's going to be there. And for me, it's like, yeah, load up on the turkey, like get the protein in. If there's a veggie tray, have some veggies. Cause I mean, I like veggie trays. It's not like I'm choking down some sugar snap peas because I feel like I have to. And then I take a couple spoonfuls of all the thing that I'm like, this is my jam. That's my jam. I can live without these things. And it's like, well, then I feel good about it. And it's not being overly obsessive about it, which I have been in the past. And again, like I've spent many Thanksgiving. I cannot wait for relatives to go home so I can pig out by myself. And then openly being angry about the family members that like took their dish back with them. And I'm like, I wanted to secret eat that when you left. Why would you take away the delicious like Jell-O thing that has the pretzel sticks and the cream cheese? Oh my God, that is so freaking good. And my aunt and uncle would always take it back home with them.
What an ass. How dare he?
I know. God.
My grandma made some weird Jell-O thing that had like carrots in it.
Ooh, no. I'm not down with like 60s cuisine. That seems like...
Yeah, it was like green Jell-O and like some fucking carrots and I don't know what else was in it, but she was always like, did you get some of my Jell-O? And I was like, yeah.
That's like out of like Christmas Vacation.
Oh, my grandma, like as she got older, man, she still wanted to cook, but she would burn everything. And we were like, oh man, how do we tell her she can't do it anymore?
We always just did like potluck style. Like everybody just brought their own thing. And like my mom made the turkey and then everybody else just brought their thing. I think why I like Thanksgiving food is just so carb based, and I'm just a slut for carbs. So like everything is a carb minus the turkey, pretty much. But yeah, like I enjoy it once a year, but it's nothing that like I lust after, and it's nothing that I feel like I'm really missing this year. I'm sad that we're not going family and doing what we normally do, but hopefully next year everything is back to normal and I can go right back to that. And same thing with Christmas. I mean, the things that I really get hung up on, I love eggnog. So eggnog is my weakness for Christmas. And I like Christmas cookies a lot. I like those the archway cookies, like a little Italian wedding cookies and stuff like that.
Oh, see, I really don't like those.
Yeah, I like those.
I could turn those down any day.
Yeah, those are.
There's like that. Good. Have you had that puppy chow stuff that people make?
Yeah,
there's good. This freaking client who brings, I swear to God, like a tub. I mean, the biggest tub of it back to the break room. And it's so bad because every year I'm like, oh, I'm just going to eat a little bit. And then I can't stop. So I'm hoping this year maybe she won't bring it because a bunch of people shouldn't be putting their hands in crap this year. So, but every year I just want to ask my boss to take it home. Just take it.
Would it be helpful to take a spoon and spoon some out into your own little Ziploc bag so you have this is mine, and once this is gone, this is it?
Girl, that would be my thought process going in, and then I'd be like, yeah, I'm just gonna fill up my baggie one more time. I have a really, really hard time with sugar. It makes me feel crazy. If I eat a little bit of something sweet, then I feel out of control. I can't stop. It's a problem.
That. Yeah, I'm that way with certain, I can't, that's why I just generally stay away from chips. That to me is no, I have a taste of it. It's my brain lights up. It is like drugs. I gotta have more of it. So I totally understand, but that's why it's if it is not specifically portioned out ahead of time for me, especially if it's just, depending on where my headspace is. And again, it's you're in all these different seasons and different places of life of sometimes you're I can do this and walk away, and sometimes I can't. And so I think part of this journey too has been to realize where I'm at on that spectrum. And I'm if I know I can't handle this right now, then I need to say no completely.
Right.
Because that'll make me feel better. Because if I spiral out, that's going to be such a mental game on me. I don't want to have the thoughts, which I've had before, of oh, I need to throw up to get rid of this, which I have never done. But that thought has been there. And when I have that thought, I'm this is not good. This, I'm I hate this feeling. I don't want to think these things. This is a dangerous road. I'm so for me, again, I don't feel deprived if I'm that has to be a hard no right now, because I don't want to deal with the consequences that come from that. That's not to say I can't have it again. Maybe a month from now, I'm in a better headspace and I can handle it. But right now it's not. And so having those kinds of conversations with yourself are brutal if you're not ready to have them. And especially if you spiral out and then you're just well, I'm just a piece of crap and I just can't handle myself and I have no willpower and I've got no motivation of whoa, we're spiraling out. It's, how that one situation went doesn't mean that's how it has to go every single time. And realizing that, I think is so huge too, of maybe I can't handle Thanksgiving this year, but next year I'll be in such a better place and I'll be in have a healthier relationship with the food. And that's not to say I have to skip Thanksgiving because I can't deal. You just kind of learn what your triggers are.
Right. And that's it's important for me to know that sugar is a trigger for me. So, well, and it's one of those things where it's no matter how long I feel you're on your health journey, the things that you can handle are constantly changing. For me, it totally depends on where I'm at mentally, what I know I can handle and what I can't.
Yeah. An example too is right now, I'm doing Sarah from Sarah D Fit with me, her plan right now, just because I need some help of I'm in a difficult mental time right now, thanks 2020. And so I know and I was invited out to lunch and I'm hey, I will go out to lunch, but I'm going to let you know, I'm not going to eat anything at the restaurant right now because I need to stick to this right now because this makes me mentally feel good. I need to be in this place right now. I'm not trying to be a douche and say, oh, I'm going to judge you for eating. I'm just like where I'm at and in my mental space right now. This is what I need to do for me. I'm being respectful of you. Can you please be respectful of me? Because you know what? In a month from now, I can go out to eat and be like, yeah, I'll have 2 slices of pizza and a beer and I feel great about it. But right now, that is triggering some deep-seated food issues I have of food for comfort, food for numbing out, of having, having a hard time dealing with the pandemic and everything going on, that is just like unearthing some food issues that I felt like I have worked through very well. And so I'm like, I know where I need to be with this right now, and to stand up for yourself of like, and not feel bad if like for expressing yourself. But again, that's where I'm at now. Of like that I've gotten to that point where I'm like, this is what I need to do. And if you don't respect it, then I'm sorry. I need to respect myself right now.
Well, and I think that you're hanging out with the wrong crowd and people who are not loving and supporting you if they have a problem with that. Yeah. Like, I mean, especially at the beginning of my journey, there were plenty of times I was like, I want to spend time with you. I do not want food to be involved. And because that's a lot of times what we do socially. It's all revolved around food. And like now at this point, I feel like most of the people in my life, I can be like, I don't want to go out right now. This is what I'm trying to do for myself. And we do something else. Like, it's not a big deal. It's not like I'm shamed, like, oh, just chill out. Like, it's just one meal. Like, I feel like if I can explain to someone, this is triggering for me, this is going to put me in a bad headspace, and they don't respect that, then I don't necessarily need them around.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I'm at now too. I mean, the only people that have ever really, I mean, let's say recently in the past, 5 years that have given me any sort of crap were just like coworkers, not people in like my close circle. And so it's like the people that are close to like the person that asked me out to lunch, like, this is where I'm at right now. Okay, that's fine. Like, yeah, I respect that of like, and if that person didn't, then we'd have a problem of like, I would respect, again, like why does it matter what I'm putting into my body? But I've had coworkers of just like, oh, come on, just one piece, and do that whole thing. And it's fine, but it's like, yeah, like it's not like we're besties. There's people that are hassling me over it because if you know me, then you're like, know that this is important to me. And especially, for me, of having so many issues with food that is just, it's been built in me since I was a kid. That's how I like learned to deal is with eating. And so me and food have a very, I don't know, like a turbulent relationship because I love food so much, and food does mean so many happy, pleasant things. But food also to me is a medication and a drug, and it's very complex. And so it's like that, I have to take care of my own relationship. And, I've lost friends on this weight loss journey too, that like didn't respect my choices, that like would give me shit for not doing what they thought I should do. And that's where it's like, well, there's a reason you're not in my life anymore. Like, I'm glad that you're not, because I can't imagine treating people that way. And I've been hypersensitive to how I talk to people about a thing like weight loss or a health journey because of that, because I don't ever just start a conversation with like weight loss or my own journey or anything. If people want to talk to me about it, that's great. I will talk to you about it. But I don't ever want anybody to ever feel like I do this, so you should do this. And of like that just feeling of judgment. And even in that specific friendship, I was already very hypersensitive of like, I'm not going to talk about what I'm doing unless asked, because I don't want them to feel bad about it. And the fact that they still did just means that relationship wasn't going to work out. Well, I have to say it wasn't completely heartbreaking. Like it's friend breakups are no freaking joke. Friend breakups are just worse than any sort of like boyfriend breakup that I've ever had. It is brutal. And like to know that you've like lost a friend relationship because you are trying to do something better for yourself and then stand up for yourself, and to know that that person wasn't on your team during that. Oh my God, knife through the heart.
I know. I know. It's like grieving the loss of someone that's still alive. It's freaking weird.
Yeah. And it's just, I mean, and I know so many people go through that, and it's even harder to do when it's family. And that's why it's like when you go into a holiday and you're walking into that, if people aren't on your team, but they're your, it's family, how difficult that is. Like that that sucks. And especially if you vocalize your feelings and they don't respect that on top of it. Like it's a really brave place to stand up for yourself, especially for something like this, when a body image is so raw and can be so from a place of shame and vulnerability. To, stand up for yourself is just so hard. And when somebody kind of just slaps that away from you, and then you're kind of like, well, why am I doing this? And so I think it's important to have a crew of people that are supportive and on your team, which there's plenty of those people out there.
Right. You need some cheerleaders.
Right? Gotta have your crew, your girl gang.
That's right. Let me amp you up. Let me be your hype girl. Shit. I'll be texting you all day. Like, you tell them what's up.
You want hot bitch.
Yeah. You want sexy bitch. Don't let them bring you down.
Right?
Shoot.
See, then you can just find you on Instagram and you can be everybody's hype
That's
girl.
right. Shoot. I'll start sending people videos.
There you go.
I'll be like, here's a video from your hype girl.
Well, I guess to get kind of back on track here, since we went way off with disordered eating, which feels like we do a lot, and Thanksgiving. So outside of the holiday, what's the rest of the week look like? Actually, I don't know why it took us this long to talk about it. We both went to Pilates this morning. So
yeah, we did.
And you're doing like a lot of Pilates this week.
I'm doing a lot of things. Yeah, I'm working out with Josh twice this week and then doing Pilates 3 times. So normally I can only do Pilates one day because of my work schedule. So I was like, hell, I'm off the rest of the week. I'm just going to go crazy. So, and I was really hyped they're doing classes on Thanksgiving. Like, how often can you do a workout class on Thanksgiving?
I know.
So, and that just puts me in a good mindset. Like, for a day that's focused on food, to like go into it, do a workout, it's going to put me in a good headspace and just make for like a more positive day. So,
yeah. So shout out to Shalates, because I was excited that she was also open on Thanksgiving, because the same. And I've done before, I used to do the turkey trot every year when I was running. And I did that for the same reason of like, well, fun. It was just fun. Everybody's wearing like turkey hats and plus they gave out gloves. Like, I don't know. I'm all about the race swag, man. And so they had the gloves, which I liked getting the gloves instead of just like the t-shirt. And so, that I just, again, it set the tone of like, I feel really good. I have like the endorphins going. I got to have a workout. I got to like, plus I just love runs that go across state lines, like running across the bridges over from Ohio to Kentucky and back. I don't know why, I just think that feels like such a Rocky move. And so it would just feel like so good going, again, it's not like punishing yourself to like, oh, I'm going to eat so much food. I ran a 10K. I feel better about it. It's just like, it just makes you feel good. So again, for Shalates to be open to kind of give like come in and get some stretching done, get a workout done, feel good, get, set the tone for the rest of the day. Again, I'm totally with you of like, I love that option is there.
Right.
Cause I'm not doing the turkey trot this year. I'm sure it's virtual anyway. And, so I'm excited for that. Also excited, to have Mike, my husband, come try.
Yes, I'm excited for that too.
He's so bendy. I think he's going to love it.
Oh my God. I don't know why, but it makes me laugh every time you call him bendy, because then I just picture him like.
He does. He's like he doesn't work out.
He reminds me of one of those little blowy things outside of like
car dealerships.
Yeah.
Well, he's just like, he's very flexible, even though he doesn't exercise.
Yeah, he is.
And that he doesn't like lifting weights or doing any of that stuff. But I mean, I could be wrong, but I think he's going to love Pilates. So I'm excited for him to try it. And I just think it would be cool if he was into it, and then like we could all go. It wouldn't be like Pilates gang.
I feel honored to be in his first class, you know? Like he's a virgin going into this and we get to be there.
Well, he's excited you're going to be there because he's very in his head and worried of like, I don't want anybody to watch me and I'm freaked out of like, no,
you should see me.
Yeah, see, it doesn't matter who, like, people get in their own head of like, he is so freaked out about other people being like, it's a small class, everybody's wearing a mask, it's gonna, you're gonna know everybody in there minus the instructor. So he's like, well, that makes me feel better.
Like, you're never like really in a position where you can be watching the other people.
Yeah, no.
Like that's what I love is I can't even like see what the other people are doing. So I'm like, I don't think they can pay attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah,
and you're so focused.
Nobody's seeing my butthole up in the air.
I know. Sometimes when I'm in positions, I'm like, it looks like I'm like in a sex position right now, like freaking down on all fours, and then freaking got my feet up in these straps, and I'm like, this is so messed up. It's horrible. I'm like, I'm so glad that no one I know is ever gonna see me doing this other than Amanda. And Amanda's like, whatever.
Yeah, well, I can't see you anyway. Like I'm focused on my own stuff. I never see what you're doing.
Got my freaking ass up in the air. I'm like, for everybody to see. God,
I'm working on that core, girl.
I do. Like, I don't even know if I should talk about this on the podcast, but I do sometimes think about what it would be like to have sex on a reformer.
Oh,
because there's some. I got some ideas.
Well, Shelly, if you're listening, Christmas is coming up and you know what Shannon wants as a gift. Shoot. Give her the keys.
That's right. I'll pay you whatever your dollar amount is, girl. I got you. I'm like, what?
Let me know where the sanitizer's at.
Every time I'm in there while we're doing moves, I'm like, this would be a good one.
Taking notes.
Oh, God. And that was the last time Shannon was ever on the podcast.
The last time you're allowed to come do Pilates. I'm excited for now whenever Shelly is our instructor again. I'd be like, I know what you're thinking about.
Uh-huh. Yeah, tomorrow when we're doing it, you're going to be like, oh, Shannon's thinking about this position and the possibilities. Oh, God.
Oh, my God, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be good times.
Oh, on that note, we will catch up again next week where we can talk about Mike's Pilates experience and catch up on that and the how we got through Thanksgiving, etc.
Sounds good.
All right. Talk to you later, homie.
All right. Bye.
For info on health coaching and more, go to AmandaValentineBites.com.